Hey, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is Harry from Hasper TV, and I'm finally back live streaming again. It's actually been like a month, so sorry guys. Unfortunately, I've been a bit ill, and I've had a lot of work to do, unfortunately. But I'm back now, and I've got Harry back with me. Harry, you all right?
I'm very good, thank you. It's great to be here on a stream together once again, talking about Tottenham, because we've got an exciting game to look forward to this weekend ahead of Christmas.
And as you can tell, Harry's very in the Christmas spirit with his Christmas hat.
It took a while.
So, first of all, Harry, how did you feel about our last performance before we talk about Everton? Obviously, we saw off Forest 2-0. I don't think we've spoken since then. I might be wrong.
No, I don't think we have.
So, what do you think of the performance?
To be honest with you, I don't think it was our best performance, especially the first half. I think that's probably, along with maybe the second half against Wolves, probably the worst I've seen, to be honest with you. I don't know how we went into that half 1-0 up, but I take it. I think the second half we looked a little bit better, a little bit more composed, obviously, until Basuma has his mad moment and, against a better opposition, that would have been a nervy ending. So not our best performance, but 3 points, 3 points, and the big clubs, the top teams that, really mean business always manage to grind out results when they don't deserve it. And for me, this was a case of it. I still think, we're the better team and deserve to win, but Forest created clear-cut chances, better in the final third than it could have been a different scenario. Obviously, the second goal was poor from them, but I'll take it and we move on.
So I just want to touch on just a few things before we go directly to Everton. Son on the left. Now, I was one person who was quite skeptical about doing this, considering he lost a lot of his pace compared to before, just in my opinion. But obviously, he put in a performance against Newcastle, which was really good. Yeah. What do you think of his performance on the left against Forest? Do you think it was better or worse? Or
I personally prefer him on the left. That's just because Son at his best can give any fullback a real game. And I think that's where he's most effective. He's not used to playing that number 9 role. And I think Richarlison, if we're going to involve him in this team, which is ideal, when you spend 40, 50 million on a striker, you want them to be involved to score goals. And the way to do that, we've seen Richarlison's better in that number 9 position. Son, for example, he wasn't as good as he was against Newcastle. But we saw with Newcastle tired and fair to say not at their best. Kieran Trippier, still top fullback, but he gave him a horrible night. He won't want to remember anytime soon, that's for sure. But no, listen, I think Son's proven he's effective in every position, but we want to get what's best for the team. And I think what's best for the team is Son on the left and Richarlison down the middle. It's good to have that flexibility to know that. If Richarlison's out, Son can play that role. Because I don't want to say Son's better on the left because he goes and scores a hat-trick against Burnley. I know it's Burnley, but there's a hat-trick. I think Son's proven that he can do it from multiple positions. Obviously, like we've discussed on previous shows, we do need to think about replacement. And I don't like to kind of look past when Son retires, but I do believe that every top club as well also prepares for one worst-case scenario and 2 plans for the long term. Obviously, got Valise. We don't know much about him yet. He hasn't played, and I don't think he's ready now. So it's a big gamble to kind of rely on that kind of player. Brendan Johnson as well, big money, but for me, not the same caliber experience as Son. Top recruitment he was, by the way. So we have to really think about that because I don't think Tottenham Hotspur can afford to lose both Son and Kane and not get a like for like kind of replacement. But Son, good. Regardless, I don't think Forest was his best performance, but the team wasn't great against Forest, so I'll let him off for this one.
What I noticed a difference, I think, between someone like Son and someone else on the left, if you look at previous performances of Solomon, who tends to cut inside a lot, I noticed that they were finally kind of playing to Richarlison's strengths the past couple of games, especially Son, who was putting a lot of crosses with his left foot. And Son in the past, when playing on that side, under say like Poch, for example, he was a lot more in and out. Like sometimes he'll go inside, sometimes he'll go outside. But it seemed like he was more just, which has helped us a lot, obviously, because Richarlison started scoring. But getting the ball in the box early, which brings on my next point, Kulusevski. Is there redemption for him on the right now? I thought I'd bring it up.
It just shows how much I know, isn't it? You was spot on. I still think calling him for being the number 10 position, I'm like, he's not effective on the wing, and he goes and puts in that excellent ball against Nottingham Forest. Just what he hasn't done for ages. So I think he's proven he can do it, and he has got a right foot. But for me, he's a lot more effective still in that number 10 role because he has that freedom. He can dictate play, and this is only why Maddison's not here. I'm not suggesting Maddison should be left out of the team. So we're not even going to go there because Maddison's another level. But Kulusevski, excellent bit of recruitment, 30 million euros, which is about 26, 27 million pounds roughly. Maths isn't my strong point, so let me off with that. But
I don't remember the exact.
One thing I do know is when it comes to Man United, Sancho, etc., Anthony combined 130, 135 million pounds. So that's a lot of money saved. It's top recruitment. Maybe that's one of the reasons Paratici is in a bit of trouble. You struck gold like that, amazing deals, and just you question how it's such a good deal. But a lot more effective that number 10 role because he can cut inside, he can use both feet, he dictates that play as that number 10, really suits him best on the wing. As we previously discussed, I think we can both agree he's quite predictable at times, cuts inside. We know it's going to be a shot from the left across. So to mix it up to prove he's got a right foot, but then I listened to his interview after the game. I love my right foot. It's always been strong. I'm like, it's the first time you've scored with your right foot. It's the first time I've seen you use it. What do you mean it was always good? Why haven't you used it? So I don't know if he's having a laugh. I don't know what that was about, but all I know is that it was an excellent cross. And I love Richarlison, and I've always wanted to defend him, but that second goal against Forest was a case of, credit to the cross rather than the finish. It's just a striker's dream that, and obviously still need to put it away, which Richarlison did. But Kulusevski, top player, and I think you can't question his hard work, commitment. We've both questioned at times how effective he is. But that's only when people have sat there and criticised Richarlison. I think both of them really, really work hard, and now we're seeing more end product from Kulusevski, which is one of the reasons we obviously bought him for. So fantastic from him.
I think what I liked a lot about his Forest performance was that he was just getting the ball in early. Oh no, sorry mate, I don't have a hat like that. If I could find it, I think it says the only hat I have is like an 08. When Spurs won the Carling Cup in 08, I have like the.
It's all right.
Yeah, but I don't know if I still have it here. But anyway, like with Kulusevski, I think the good thing was against Forest, it seemed like he was actually playing with a purpose. Like it felt like he was obviously with Richarlison's height, he was putting in high balls. His goal obviously took it really well. I think even though the keeper, you could say he could have maybe saved that. But as in, he was. It seemed like he wanted to prove a point. And also, I think Richarlison's kind of helped us playing in the middle because it's given us a bit of more presence. I know people probably won't like me saying this, but as in with his height, at least we have something to hit.
Whereas with Son, not being funny, we're playing ball to feet, and it's so easy for a top team to suss it out. How good we are. So that physical presence in the box. He just makes a massive difference. And, we need to put more balls in the box. So as we've seen in the last couple of games, it really does work.
Now, do you think, Harry, that now they're finally actually putting high balls into Richarlison has made a difference? Because, me and we've been on Marlon's show before, how I kept arguing that you give the person the right supply or striker the right supply, like a Son or Richarlison, they'll score goals. But do you think that's probably been the case the past few games? Because even the Porro assist against Newcastle, if you notice, I think he did this on purpose. He looped the ball quite high. Obviously, it landed on his foot, but I think he did it in the sense that if he doesn't reach his head, at least it will land on his foot. But do you think the team are finally catering? I hate to use this word, catering to Richarlison.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. And I said that you were spot on at the time, and I stand by that. You really were spot on. It's funny how Marlon's gone quiet. I don't know if he's got lost. I don't know what's quite happened there, but funny that we all said that. If he gets the supply, but no, you're spot on. Forest and Newcastle, we've seen Kulusevski puts a beautiful ball in the box like that. Richarlison can score. Newcastle scoring the first goal with his feet in a Spurs shirt. Really, really happy. Nice finish. Obviously scored 2 as well. So it's great to see him growing in confidence. And I think that shows the people who criticise him as well. The injury really affected him. The stuff that happened, mental health, etc., off the pitch, it affects anyone. I think people think has because, someone's a professional footballer, they earn a lot of money that they can't, go through a difficult time. That isn't the case. As we've seen, like with Richarlison. So it's great to see him come through it all. I think surgery in particular is, had a massive impact on him. It just looks like a different player, the player we signed for Everton that kept them up ultimately. So it's great to see. Of course, he gets a service. I think it's very key, but he puts the hard work in. I think he holds the ball up well. His first touch has improved. It's just great to see some people gone quiet. Credit to the people who've admitted maybe they were wrong. I'm not going to sit here and go, Richarlison now going to score 20, 25 goals this season. You're all wrong. Yeah. It's early days, but what I'm seeing now is really, really promising, and long may it continue. But absolutely right. And for most strikers, you give them the service and they do well. And not being funny with Harry Kane, I know he creates his own chances, but you're not going to give him any service. He doesn't score. That doesn't score like the amount that he did for Tottenham Hotspur. He doesn't score, 30, 35 goals a season. Nobody does. However good you are, you need to rely on also service from others. Richarlison, service is really good for him, Newcastle and Forest. And as we see, there's an end product as well. So long may it continue, has.
Also, what I noticed is that has anyone seen Ange's comments after the Newcastle game about Richarlison? Have you seen them by any chance?
I see actually a lot of his comments after the game, but not about Richarlison.
So he said something really interesting. Obviously there's always an argument about him playing wide and in the middle.
Yeah.
So he mentioned in the first few games of the season he played him wide because he had that injury. Remember, and he said he's trying to keep him. He didn't say keep him safe, but he said he was playing on the wing on purpose, maybe it was to save him getting injured. I don't know. To get him through games, he said to get him through games. Do you think now he's had this operation, he's going to get back to his best?
Absolutely. And the Richarlison we know best, he scores you 10, 15, maybe more goals than Tottenham side. And what annoys me is people really critical of Richarlison, right? And I'm like, everywhere he's been, Watford, Everton, he's proven himself, kept Everton up, scored 10, 15 goals for both clubs, which, you take that away and I don't know where the clubs would be now. Everton might still be in the Championship. It made that much of a difference for them because a club like Everton, they go into the Championship. I think they really struggled to come back, FFP, financially, new stadium, etc. So he really, really saved them alone. That Richarlison, so many times when they needed a goal, he was there. And people judging him off last season, his first season at a big club, went for a lot, as I said, surgery, injury, and I just don't get it. And we played a negative style of football that clearly didn't suit him. So, I think he'll definitely get back to his best. And the Richarlison we've seen recently, especially that game against Newcastle, was the Richarlison we used to associate with, which is dangerous in the box, can score goals, head and feet. And, he can be his best a defender's nightmare because he's here, there, everywhere. He has the energy, high press. And I still think he massively suits this system because he has the energy that Ange wants, the commitment and determination that Ange wants, but also I think the end product, which, we're not being funny, this season has been a problem. And I think with Richarlison coming back, this may not be. I'm not going to say Richarlison can score every chance he's get. Okay, we're not talking about the clinical levels of Harry Kane, right? A lot of people sit here. I think that comparison's unfair, right? Kane's gone in the past. So what? Bye. Thank you for your service. We've got Richarlison now. Get crack on with it, whether you like it or not. Get behind the guy. So I'd never get fans. It's only it's a small fraction. I appreciate that, but people who get on his back. Because, we know there's people sitting here, with tweet schedule, here we go about Richarlison, blah, blah, blah. Some people comparing him to Kane. They'll be ready now. And then people see me like this, getting a little bit carried away with Richarlison's performances, and they're ready. And I don't like that. You should get behind a player, whether you think they're good or not, whether you like them or not, whether have you wear your club shirt. And I think Richarlison is improving game by game in every ability, every single section of his game, with or without the ball. And I think that will continue to grow. And that's for me why he's a solid first team starter at the moment. And credit to the people who've always believed in him. If you don't believe in him, you should get behind him at least.
Also, another thing, Richarlison, I hate to bring this up every time, but when Son came to Spurs in his first season, a lot of people wanted him gone. And now, look, obviously, no one say anything against him.
But not being funny, but
Spurs had their way, he actually wouldn't have survived.
Son in the first season, he could have like you said, very easily been sold. It wasn't fantastic. If fans' voice had won, then he would have been sold. So where would we have been? So as you say, Ange is playing him for a reason, and a lot of fans love Ange, like I do. Get behind the decision, support the guy.
And I mean, fans are giving players like Dyer tons and tons of chances over the years, and players like obviously Davies and even these players who a lot of people now are saying,
I think
now
fans have got to have a scapegoat, has. And
it's
it was Richarlison. He's a bit of Højbjerg, I think. Obviously, Dyer's the main one, so it passes on. But it's like with Dyer, right? Okay, he doesn't suit the system. Nobody thinks he's got great ability as a defender. I still think on his day he can do all right as a defensive midfielder. He doesn't suit the system, but again, the personal hate just isn't needed, and you don't need to have a scapegoat.
The reason I say it, Harry, it's more to do with the time he's been here. He's only been here for like a year.
He represents.
Like Dyer's been here for 10 years. And Dave's been, like, I can kind of understand it more.
Well, in a way, for me, it represents the problems at the club in terms of not selling early enough and not bringing in a good enough quality replacement. But I think for me, I still think Dyer leaves on a free transfer in the summer. There's strong links today with him, with Galatasaray, and how they really want to sign him in January. I don't know why.
Dyer with Sanchez, I guess.
Well, they can wait for him with free transfer. And I get that kind of business, whatever you think of Dyer, because it's for free. Club like Galatasaray, the experience that Dyer has, I get that. But they want to sign him in January, go for it. We get money for him. But personally, I think he's staying until the summer. I don't think it's a statement for you here. I don't think he kicks another ball for Tottenham, but I do think he'll leave in the summer. So that means no football.
It's about just like fairness. Don't get me wrong, Harry. Richarlison wasn't even top of my list that summer. Yeah, I actually wanted Jesus, who went to Arsenal. Yeah, I'll have to agree this. Yeah, but even though he was my first choice, initially I thought he was a Conte signing because of his physicality. I thought, Conte maybe picked him. Also, we learned later on that Levy actually went and bought him himself. And that's why Conte kind of put him out wide or didn't really take that much care with him and played him the odd game. I don't think Conte wanted him, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. But I still thought, there's a player there because I've seen him play for Brazil. I've seen him play for Everton. I've seen him play for Watford even back in those days. And you can see that there was still a player there. Whether it was the level that I want from a player or something I expected. But it doesn't mean I was going to sit there and just treat him unfairly in the sense that that's just why this year has been very vocal and saying if he's given this 10-game run, Harry, and he scored like 1 goal or 2 goals, I'd be like, fair enough, maybe we need to call it a day. But obviously now he's started the past 2 up front, he scored 3 goals, and he's proving people wrong. So it's about giving someone a fair chance because they gave Sonny a fair chance. Why not give Richarlison a fair chance? That's how I see
Everyone deserves a fair chance. I've always said this, right? And it's really, really important. And a lot of people will blast, the signings and the transfer windows we've had. But I hope we can all kind of recognise that the recruitment's been a lot better recently. I think the investment, for me personally, you may disagree, but forgetting, when the new stadium's been built and Pochettino not being backed, from that date to now, there's been, for me, significant investment. It just hasn't been, the recruitment hasn't been good enough. But Paratici walked in the door. Recruitment for me, top class. And Richarlison, listen, it may be a club signing, some people say, etc. Daniel Levy signing, but if you think about it, it's a really clever signing because for them, again, I don't necessarily agree with it, and I know a lot of people didn't. But if you think about it, right, they're thinking if Harry Kane leaves, which he could, if we're not going to win a trophy, because we want top 4, etc., then we've got someone who we can say costs 50, 60 million for in his place. He can play anywhere across that front line, in particular left wing, striking. He plays a false 9. He puts the effort in, shows commitment. He kind of covers everything in terms of multiple positions. So for them, that's tick for a new winger, tick for a new striker, and tick for a potential replacement for Kane, and also tick for a second striker, which us fans are calling out for. So for them, it was really, really, really clever. But generally, I think our recruitment's been good recently. But Richarlison, 3 goals in 2 games, if that's Gabriel Jesus, then, we never hear it.
You're going to laugh at this because the stats people love this. I think Richarlison has more goals and assists in the same amount of appearances, I think, this season as Jesus.
Then Gabriel Jesus, then Martinelli,
the same. I think some.
Then Kai Havertz, his stats are better than all 3 of them put together. Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, get behind him.
So on Everton, because I thought I would segregate it from Richarlison because he used to play for Everton. Do you think he's going to score against Everton now then? Again,
I personally didn't predict him to see. I make a prediction on Sunday on Partnering Podcast, and I try and stick to it. And I said, do you want me to give my score prediction yet? I'm not.
No, not yet. It was too early.
Not yet. Oh, and then he said that was close. I said that Okay, I won't give it away because if I say who I think scored, we'll give it away.
But do you think there's some emotional thing as well at all? Because
absolutely. Listen, he's done a lot for Everton. I expect the reception to be good. I think Everton are a classy bunch of fans. We've seen the togetherness that they've shown, rightly so. And I want them to stay up. And has you like Sean Dyche and some people will be critical of that. For me, I look at it and go, he's done an excellent job. Everton would have 26 points. It wasn't for that points deduction, which easily sees them inside the top 7, 8. That is really impressive for a club that scraped to stay in this league last season, going through a lot of problems on and off the pitch, FFP, etc. And obviously the 10-point deduction. Richarlison will feel something personally for Everton, and there'd be an amazing response. I really think it'd be 100% good. We saw with Brennan Johnson, it was a little bit mixed. Majority good, but it's a little bit mixed. I think Richarlison would be 100% positive because they know that his goals that season kept them up. To score has 12, 15 goals for a team that finished 17th and just about scraped in this league. That is impressive. That's impressive for any club. So as far as I'm concerned, there'd be nothing but love. But of course, it'd mean a lot to him. I don't know because all players act differently. So like some players who want to score against that old club. For me, it depends. If they got rid of me, didn't want me, of course I'd be willing to score. But that wasn't the case at Everton. So will the emotion get the better of him? I don't know. All I care is that he puts in an excellent performance, shows commitment, and I expect him to get an excellent response. But of course, there's going to be more emotion, isn't there? Then Richarlison's a guy that shows his passion and shows his emotion as he should. So there'll be some love there, of course, between him and the Everton fans in particular.
So we have had a transfer talk a bit today. This to Daibo. I don't know if you have any other Spurs chats, but someone actually told me this before it broke today. So we're apparently in talks with Todibo. Excuse everyone who's watching. I don't know how to pronounce his name. It's French.
Todibo.
Yeah. So he's sent off for Nice. For what I've heard, he can play left side and right side, and he's quite fast in some highlight reel someone showed me. I don't know. Do you know anything about him, Harry?
Yeah, listen, I've got to be honest. Some people may have noticed I haven't made a comment on this across any socials, which is very rare for me for a transfer story. And I'm someone who believes
we're making a comment from Harry Scarf on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you are, who knows? Maybe not. But if listen, I'm someone who believes in honesty. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't know a lot about the guy, so it's not fair for me to go, that's ridiculous or that's amazing when I don't know. Like I said, all I've been told is he plays for Nice, and all I know is he can play both sides. So I thought, great, a third strong centre back. So if the buzz, because there's a massive buzz from the Spurs fan base, there are a lot of transfers. We can all agree there's been split opinions and it's a waste of money, etc. But this seems like united fan base in terms of the signing, and you're seeing people who want leaving the club going, do you know what? I'll give credit to this guy if we get this move done. So I'm assuming it's pretty serious. So if all these things are true, we need someone who can play both sides, especially with Romero's liability, if you like, if he keeps going. But we need a third strong centre back, and he has to come in January. I don't know what it'll look like price wise, but get him in the door.
I was going to ask you because I know you've been big on Tosin. We actually scored the winning penalty the other night for Everton. Everton, right? So is he still your first choice for a centre back in January?
Again, listen, see, it's not fair for me to put.
I'm saying if you had the magic wand.
Yeah. If I had my way, then personally, Adebayo would one of them will come in January and Dyer would go in January, and the other one will come in the summer. But I don't see that being the case. For me, listen, I made my thoughts clear about Tosin. I think he's a perfect fit for this side. We all, and one of the reasons I look to Tosin Adebayo is that we all know we struggle still from set pieces. We always have done this, but we still are under Postecoglou. Tosin offers that height, that physical presence in the box. He's calm, composed on the ball. Someone who's really, really admired by Pep Guardiola and the way he plays. He's perfect for their system. I think he's perfect for the way we play. Ball playing centre back, commands the area. Will find himself on the score sheet quite often, can play the balls over the top like Alderweireld does. And I think just because he's been out of action for a while, people don't see this. Yes, Tim Ream's out injured, but I think even if Ream was here, it would be a centre-back pairing of Ream and Adebayo. I don't think it'd be Issa Diop. I think they massively value Adebayo. And as I said, I don't think that Adebayo will be a Spurs player. I think Fulham will offer him a big contract, 3-4 year contract, massive pay increase. I think a vice captain's role will come with it as well in January. I think they value him a lot higher. Barney, what do you think? New contract? I think it's coming. I think they drop a hint in the next few. I feel it.
But he wanted to leave in the summer. That's the interesting thing about Tosin. So
that's why they'd be keen to sign him up. And if they don't, then they've got to be funny. Tim Ream, who's aging, who hasn't got that long in him. We've seen him pick up injuries. Diop, so they need to, for me anyway, sign Adebayo up as a contract at this moment in time. I like what I see from Tobibo, but I'm going with Adebayo just because I know, but that's purely based on what I've seen. But for me, any strong centre back in the window is great because you can get players off the books. Because for me, like I've said, January is a really, really tough time. I think we all have to respect that. It's for every club though, and if we can get 2-3 players in this window, and we can get out 4-5, just a few players out the door off the wage bill and reduce the squad. I know, sorry. Then I think it's so much better. So for me, it's Adebayo who has the experience in this league.
I doubt Barney's going to help us sign him. So.
Yeah, thank you for going, Barney. Tobibo in the summer though, yes, but for me, halfway through a season, I don't know if I take that risk as someone who doesn't have Premier League experience, but I don't know because I don't know what I've seen. But Adebayo for me is the safe, cheaper, probably. I don't know, and ready to go option.
The problem is, the other options are people like Lloyd Kelly, who was mentioned, who not many people really want. I think he's kind of he reminds me of like a utility player. Like maybe he'll be
he's
good.
A bit like Davis.
Yeah, that sort of level. Yeah. And we already have a Davies. And obviously Mark Guay, he was the other one that Spurs have long-term interest in, but
Mark Guay,
he's got way too expensive for what
he'd be. Let me get. I think it'd be about 45 million.
Another one we linked with, who, to be honest, is probably my choice. That Everton centre back Brathwaite.
Brathwaite, yeah, I like it again. Tall, commanding in the box, really, really.
But they want 60-70 million. I was reading.
Wow. Well, there you go.
Because you know what it is. Fofana went to Leicester. Sorry, from Leicester to Chelsea for 75 million.
I'm glad we didn't get him. By the way,
they're basing that transfer on that, and because obviously he's English as well.
He's similar situation too.
Like the way he really
English play. Yeah, no, I can see that. And listen, Everton, and listen, some clubs would have gone, you're mad to hold out for 100 million or 150 million, whatever us fans valued him, but every player values someone differently. That's why I think Palace valuing Zaha at 80, 90 million. I don't see anything wrong with that. Everton with Brathwaite, because they're a young player with so much potential, and you have to pay high prices, especially in January, if you want the player. A serious club, we go out there and pay the money for who we think is best and who Ange thinks is best. Because this season can still be a very, very memorable season, whether that means, silverware in the FA Cup, potentially not, but it still could be European football and Champions League football. Top 4 at the moment is still achievable, but we have to have a good window.
I think the centre half will probably cost Todibo 30 million or something. I was reading 35, 40 million. So he's probably like one of the cheaper side of it. But do you think there's a risk that we're bringing someone from France that would be, he's going to take time to settle? Bearing in mind, we talk about Romero getting suspended. He's actually 1 year away from a suspension again. So, because I kind of agree with you, Harry, which is why I was more for Brathwaite, because at least they're going to come in and do a job straight away.
Yeah,
I think there's a massive risk with this sort of signing. I'm not saying it's going to be bad. I have no idea what he's like, by the way, guys, if you're watching this, because everyone's going to call me negative or something. But do you think it's a risk signing someone who has no Premier League experience at this time of the year as well?
It is, and it's not a risk that for me I'll be willing to take. However, no risk. Sometimes no risk. There is no reward, so it really depends. And listen, with the centre backs we got now in Romero, Van der Ven, I know is out. I think Romero is excellent, and I've never ever will question his ability, but we know the type of player that he is, and I think he'll always have it in him, whether it's reduced, which it should be, or not. Romero has it in him. He always wants to kill someone, always wants to take someone out. That's just I think part of his game as an Argentinian, but Saliba, for example, we all have criticised him at times, but I've taken the time to watch him. I really like him. For me, There you go. See, and if you not being funny, you keep Saliba out the French team, then you're talking because
I
at the
think he
moment
plays
for
with
me,
Upamecano and who's the other centre? Is it
who I don't
Canate?
rate.
Is it Canate? Maybe it's Canate. Wait, is he not French? Hold on.
Yeah, I think Kanate is.
I'm trying to think of who he
Anyway, as
plays.
far as I'm concerned with Saliba, for me, this may be unpopular, but I think Saliba, especially in Spurs as well, I think Saliba is the best centre back at the moment in the Premier League.
He
And for
is,
me,
100%.
what
Yeah.
stops Romero from getting to that level is his discipline problems. Saliba, you can rely on as that calm head to get Arsenal back in the game. That guy to go, come on, let's get back in it. Calm on the ball. They go, disciplines like I knew. And
This is my next segue because you started talking about it anyway, so carry on.
That's all right. Sorry, I have to mention it. Yeah, much
Yeah.
annoys me. So we can get a third strong centre back, because Van der Ven, I hate to say it, but it's always in his career is he probably going to suffer from hamstring or quadricep injuries because he relies on his pace. Like I said, the fastest registered player in the Bundesliga, the pace, and that puts pressure on your hamstring. And he's going to suffer at least once a season this type of injury. Maybe not severe, but he's going to suffer some kind of hamstring injury. That's what defenders often do. So having a third strong centre back is really key. I wouldn't take this risk in January. I'd wait till the summer and bring Adebayo in, that ready-made experience, because January is all about, bringing in what you need, what I call ready to go signings to improve your season, where it's to save you from relegation, get you into Champions League football. I don't know, or cement your current position. For Tottenham, I think we get us in top 4 or get us into top 5, top 6, whatever their aim will be. I think top 4 is achievable. I think there's any standout team for me this year. So, the case likes of Tosin would, for me, like I said, experience, ready to go. I can't speak highly enough of him, or Brathwaite, whoever you're willing to pay the money for, someone who's ready to step in now till Van der Ven's back and will also be happy to sit on the bench, because this guy, will he be happy to sit on the bench if he's getting in the French team over Saliba? I don't think so.
Interesting. So we're going to talk about Spurs discipline because, unfortunately, again, Bissouma got himself another red card. So Spurs have now had 4 red cards this season. Which, yeah. I know there's been a lot of talk on Twitter about this, or X, as we have to call it nowadays, about Spurs discipline and the number of yellows, number of reds. And I don't know if you've seen Johnny Ham's tweet, but apparently we have 5 players. If they get booked, they miss the next game. It's just like Kulusevski is one of them, Porro.
Really? No,
there's like a long list. So do you think there's an actual issue, and do you think that's down to Ange, or like what? Bissouma, to me, I'm very disappointed in, because he started the season so well, and since like Luton, it's just been
Yeah, for me, it's really, really clear. There's a major discipline issue at Tottenham Hotspur. Listen, you'd be crazy not to blame Ange when, he's the manager. He sets the team out. He instructs the tactics. He'll be the one going, come on, guys, let's show the aggression, the passion. Of course, it comes down to the individuals. I don't think it's a Romero problem, although sometimes I may have it in for him slightly. Because
you're not the only one. I'm worse.
I'm not afraid to admit it. I love his ability, but in terms of an individual, I don't. I'm not that kind of. I don't sit back and relax when Romero's on the ball. The worst. Always. Oh God, here we go. Right, just pass and move on. It can't relax with Romero for me personally. But no, it's a major issue. Ange has to take responsibility. For me as a manager, if I was, the way I'd handle it is I'll publicly speak out about it, or I'll try privately first, but if it doesn't work, then I'll go publicly. Like I said, I grab Romero, I go, listen, ability, very, very best in the world, but you really, really disappointed me. If it doesn't change, see, there's lots of things Ange can do. Threaten to take the vice captain's role away, the threat of deducting wages, the threat of, if this continues, if you get, it could be something as, if you continue to lose your head, to lash out in unnecessary situations when the team needs you as a vice captain the most, you'll be stripped of your role and you'll be called out publicly. I think the threat of that to any player is quite daunting. I think you said a doggy as well. Go, listen, you're a fantastic young player. Exactly what I need in this system, right? We value you really, really high. Make up a really big price tag, etc., and say, look, we really rate you. You're so far ahead of where he's meant to be, but we need to keep calm and not lose your head. Otherwise, you're out this team. And it's the same with Bissouma for me. Excellent player, but we can't rely on you. You're defensive midfielder. So Ange needs to do something about
it. Because don't you think? Because I thought of Romero quickly for a second. as the vice captain, if he's getting like reds and flying in like a madman every game, don't you think it sets a bad example for the rest of the team?
It does, and that's a problem. Yeah, spot on. It's down to the individual, of course, but I still think a manager has to take responsibility. Listen, as far as I'm concerned, I'm a no-nonsense type of guy, believe in honesty, if you don't know already. As a manager, I'd listen, after Chelsea, I would have grabbed Romero and gone, right, one more and you're out. For me already, he would already have his vice-captain's role taken away. And it's a shame because his ability is top class, but at the end of the day, if we want to go places with Postecoglou, because I still believe, and I always believe, I think it's the right manager to take us to that next level and see us over the line for that success and get back into Champions League, etc. You can't win a trophy when you have a player who loses his head. And a lot of people say to me, United had Roy Keane, etc. Yeah, but they had a ready-to-go quality replacement to step in. We don't have that at the moment. That's the difference. And United had the money, they had the players, but when you rely on individuals that make up your team, because like Chelsea, for example, yes, it was really, really unfortunate to lose both Maddison and Van de Ven through injury, but I still believe 11 players on that pitch, even 10, we still win that game. 11 men, we win it comfortably for me, 2-3-0, and I mean that as well. So that cost us 3 points already. Luton, Basuma got away with it. For diving as well, it's so pathetic. So Romero's vice captain, for me, he's setting a really, really poor example, not only to the first team, but to the fans, to future, Spurs, fans watching on TV, younger fans who want to maybe get into football, want to play for Spurs when they're older. That sets a bad example for the youth academy. At every level, it sets a bad example. So it has that knock-on effect. Success is not Champions League. Yeah, exactly. But getting us back into Champions League, Mark, is the priority for us now, and then we want to go on and win something. So I think Ange's the manager to get us back where we belong, which is Champions League, which we're not in, as you know, at the moment. And we can progress latter stages, and I say get over the line in major competitions. We haven't, like I said, I don't like to keep saying it, but we haven't won a major trophy since 2008, and for your information, Mark, that's actually before I was born, which is crazy stuff.
I was 16 then, by the way, so
16. No, yeah, there you go. So time does go quick, and I respect that, but I think Ange's the manager to take us to that next level. But you can't if players lose their heads. And listen, there's nothing wrong with aggression.
No, because you're born in 09 then. I'm just trying to work this out. You're born in 09, or is it 20?
08.
09. 08. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
08.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Nearly 2009. I was meant to be born in 2009, but it didn't happen.
But so I also want to bring something else about this discipline, because to me, it's even weirder that this is happening nowadays. Like, I can understand it back in the day, in the 90s and 2000s, because there was no VAR. But surely with VAR, aren't these players aware that if they do something really stupid, or like Romero flies into these tackles, that one day he's going to get caught, which has already happened, obviously. But do you think that doesn't go through these players' heads? Like, do they not think,
it must do? But I think Romero's that kind of individual, right? Where let's use school as an example. There'd be a teacher there, and he wouldn't care. It'd still hit them if he didn't like them. He's that kind of guy. Don't mess with me. I don't care. And again, I like that aggression and passion he shows. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with winning the ball and taking the player out. Occasionally, you get the odd yellow card, but you can't at any circumstances. Like we saw against Newcastle, he lost the ball to Callum Wilson. He just sticks his leg out. That is completely deliberate, no intention on the ball. Chelsea as well, things start to go against us. He gets, I think, annoyed at Sterling for diving. And he comes on Enzo Fernandez, who I respect, backed out of the tackle, but he doesn't need to go two-footed, like that, in the box. You don't do
JJ,
that.
With Romero, it's like a historical thing. In Italy, he was the same. So this is what I mean.
It's the same. I'll continue to say, I don't think we would have got the goal anyway at home against AC Milan, because I was there in the Champions League, right? But every bit of hope was destroyed after that. And the annoying thing was, right, the ball's going out. The ball's going out. It was going to be there thrown. He just 2 foot in. Honestly, it's disgraceful. This kind of thing happens at a Sunday League level. He just isn't acceptable, and you're gone like that. So the fact it's happening, in the Premier League. And I think if it wasn't for his ability, he'd be gone. So he needs to step up. Basuma as well comes under the category. Doggy as well, I think, has this thing where he easily gets frustrated and just lashes out and late to tackles. But he's younger, forgive him. He doesn't have the experience. When you have experienced players like Basuma and Romero, then for me, it just isn't acceptable. And I don't know why it doesn't go through their mind. For me as a player, I don't put two-footed tackles in. I don't risk things. And the annoying thing is often we're winning against Chelsea, we're winning against Nottingham Forest, we're winning against Luton when all these players in Basuma, Romero, Udogie do these things. That's what I don't get. If we're 2-0 behind and we're chasing the game, you have to take that risk. I respect that. Unlucky.
We're 3-0 up. Was it 4-0?
Yeah, it's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. Ugh.
Honestly, Romero reminds me of that guy. You don't go to the pub, but if you went to the pub, he's like out looking for a fight, just for no reason. That's what it reminds me of. Because some of those tackles he makes, I'm just like, there's no need for it. Like the play's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and as a defender myself, right? I now, like I said, I don't go for a two-footed tackle. So you just know there's a potential consequence.
Well, Harry, the Spurs' best defenders I saw in my lifetime. I know you never saw Ledley King that much, I don't think, but you're probably too young to remember him. But Ledley King, Toby and Jan, Toby and Jan, they were for me the best defenders I've seen at Tottenham, and all of them were all calm. You never saw. Maybe once it happened or twice. I think Jan had one red card in his whole Spurs career, and he was here for like I don't know how many years, 6, 7 years.
That was unlucky. I remember that red card was unlucky as well. It's still debatable to this day.
And Toby, I can't remember him getting a red card at all, really. Maybe he got one. I don't know. But these players were all calm. They just read the game. All the top strikers, all the top defenders just read the game and they deal with it and they're ahead. I don't know if you've seen that clip of that King challenge against Iron Robin, Harry. I'm sure you've seen it. When he came out of nowhere and made that tackle. Yeah. So I was at that game actually. Incredible. He was like, for me, whenever people speak about Romero, I say, look at these defenders, look how good they were. You can't really talk about Romero in that sort of level because he's not. And the reason why Saliba is rated by the media or other fans or even people like us, because we're not being biased, more than Romero is because he doesn't miss 5 games a year. He's actually can tackle the ball cleanly. He reads the game so well. I watched the Brighton against Arsenal game last week, and some of the things Saliba did, he just before the danger happened or killing the attacks, he just does it. He doesn't do it in
he's at another level, and of course it pains me to admit that, but at this moment in time, Saliba is another level than Romero, and Romero has the ability to be on the same level, but Saliba's that cool, calm head. He knows how to command that defense and just that leadership, that player they look up to with the quality, the calm head. And Romero doesn't have that calm head. And, again, Romero, you once a season, he does this kind of thing, it's more acceptable. But when you're winning and it costs the team, it's a problem. And that's what we're seeing right now. And it needs to be dealt with.
Okay, so I'm going to talk briefly about this and then we're going into tactics. So Dyche rule. So as people know, I'm a big fan of Sean Dyche. So I have actually been watching Everton's last few games in anticipation for this.
So I am.
And if you guys don't know, we actually have Everton twice in a month. 3 weeks or 2 weeks. We've got them at home.
It's 2.5 weeks, I think.
Yeah, so once this Saturday, and then we've got them on the 3rd of February as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing a lot of Dyche, I think. So obviously you bigged up Everton. They could be on to 26 points.
Yeah.
So I took the pleasure of watching them last game against Forest. No, sorry, was it Forest? They beat 2-0, yeah. And what I noticed is that he changed to a 5 at the back. So do you think going into this game, we're going to see Everton that played against Newcastle, who were like all over them? Maybe it's the fact that they were at home. Or do you think we're going to see Dyche is going to come and park the bus and play those long balls?
I think I don't know if I need to answer that because I think, we all know that Everton are going to come to Tottenham, and defend, and they have every right to do that away from home. They always haven't travelled well this season. I know they won against Burnley, but generally speaking, they found it hard. Like you say, at home, they do tend to go for it, but simple things like a small, narrower pitch, the crowd behind them, they can afford to do that. But away from home, they just can't take that risk at this moment in time because at the end of the day, they've been really, really good. And, like I said, 4 Premier League wins in a row, 16 points beyond 26. It wasn't for the points deduction, but still because of that points deduction, they still, can't afford to drop points. Although I don't think they get involved in a relegation scrap. They take a risk, they lose the game, and that's all of a sudden tight at the bottom at this moment in time. So, they come going for the point and they believe they can get it. They are defensively really, really solid. Like I said, I love the togetherness, the spirit they've shown between Everton fans. I love that they all kind of got together. They got behind the team. Everton, football club at the moment is a really nice to be part of. That togetherness, that feel good factor. And Dyche is delivering results, and he's been criticised and blasted for his styles of football. Burnley at Everton, but he knows how to get results. Results come over performances, right? I love the way we play. If you say to me, right, you take a really, really boring and undeserved 1-0 win, or you lose 3-0 and play some excellent football, of course I'm going to choose the win. It's 3 points for my team. And that's why it annoys me a little bit, right? Of course we want to play good football, but it feels like we have to play good football, otherwise we don't get behind the manager. And Everton, a smaller club, it's not, they can get away with it, I suppose. But for the Everton, it's just about results. It's about stability and it's about success. It's about, for this year, anyways, stabilising that team. I think they end up finishing in the top 10. I think they could potentially get some of their points deduction overturned. I don't think it'd be all of it. I don't think the Premier League would retrace.
You think they'll get back some points?
I think they'll get given back, in the end, 5 points. I think it'd be half. I think the Premier League, I think they know it's unjust, but they wanted to kind of set a statement thinking they're like some Man City and Chelsea.
But then they haven't done anything with Man City or Chelsea yet. So,
wow. There you go. So, it's infuriating, isn't it? You have 115 charges and they're more worried about a minor breach. And for me, I know breaking the rule, and I'm not defending that. That's why a little fine for me should come along. When Everton, the FFP problems they've had, the old change of ownership, the new stadium, there should be, and they struggle to stay in the league, and what they've kind of achieved over the years. If you like, for me, there should be more respect for Everton. There should be. Listen,
no, they've never gone down.
You've been through a lot.
Yeah.
And I get that they've broken the rule, and there should be a fine. But you go down that points deduction route. And for me, the Premier League are always, and it's the same with FFP, looking to punish the small teams. That's because the bigger teams, for me anyway, they generate that bigger revenue, that bigger audience for the Premier League. And it's not about that for me. It should be about protecting the smaller teams, giving them a chance. And this is totally unjust. Unless City are going to be relegated 3-4 divisions, it is simply unjust and unfair.
I mean, if that happened, right, Man City and Chelsea went down, I think the league will look so different. But I think it actually be a bit more entertaining.
They won't do it because of how it looks for them. But
it might be a bit more entertaining.
If Everton had 115 charges,
without City,
we'd find them in the National League for sure.
Without City, the league will look so different because I think it will be up for anyone.
Yeah, I think it'd be more open personally. But again, the money that City offer to the Premier League, and again that audience, and they win. And it's so boring, I think, personally, but they seem to love it, don't they? No, I feel sorry for Everton fans because, you get it if the owner's punished. For me, why can't they punish the owner? Why do you punish the fans who support the club? For me, I don't get it. And we've seen similar situations all up around the Football League, and, whether it's with Derby, etc., Reading, where the fans and the team are punished simply not out of any fault of their own, but the owners. So for me, it's unjust, it's unfair. But I think some of it will be overturned because the pressure, and I love it, the togetherness, like I said, between Everton fans. I think the Premier League will cave in on that pressure in the end.
Okay, so your team lineup, as you know, Basuma is missing. What's the lineup, Harry? Saturday.
Right, I'm going to talk you through the team if you don't mind. So obviously Vicario in goal, Porro right back. I'd play Emerson left back. Not ideal, but like I said, nothing against Dyer, but he doesn't simply suit this system. And Davies has been so good left centre back, we have to keep him there. So Davies left centre back, Romero right centre back. Midfield three, obviously Sarr. I'd keep Kulusevski there, and this is where I'm a little bit stuck.
Can we keep Kulusevski there? Because Lo Celso's a doubt. I don't know if he's going to play because we might have to play Skip. We might have to play Skip, Højbjerg, and Sarr as the midfield three.
Yeah, well, for me,
yeah,
go on.
If Lo Celso's out, it kind of limits our options for wide areas. And
of course, it's not ideal, but this is one thing you have to get on with. But midfield three for me would be Kulusevski, Sarr, and Højbjerg. I'd like to go more attacking than the likes of Højbjerg, and some people suggested Gil. But for me, I'm just thinking Sarr on his own to deal with Everton's physicality to protect the defence isn't enough. I put Højbjerg in there. Kulusevski still in that number 10 role. And the front three, Johnson should be okay. So Johnson,
Is he going to be
Son,
okay
and
in
Richarlison.
January? No. Is he going to be okay for all you know?
Yeah, well, because the concussion subs rules obviously 6 days out, so he'll be back for the Everton game. And you've seen pictures of him. Apparently, it's a deep cut and not concussion.
Oh, right. Because I thought it was bad.
Yeah, he should be okay. He doesn't look great. I think he'll still wear a bandage or something, but I think he'll play for sure.
Okay, I kind of have to agree with you with the team. I don't see how it should look any different because I think one of Højbjerg or Skip will have to play, and then if Johnson's
It's that kind of physical game, though, isn't it? Has for him with Everton. I think Sean Dyche would love him.
And then Kulusevski has to play obviously after his last performance. But if Lo Celso's fit, would you be tempted to move at all Kulusevski to the right and put Lo Celso in the middle?
Not one bit. I wouldn't even consider it. For me, the priority is getting Lo Celso back fit. A player who's gone through injuries. I'm not taking that risk. Kulusevski's a lot better in that number 10 position, in my opinion, a lot more effective. So I'll keep him there. So yeah, Lo Celso's fitness doesn't influence my decision. He finds his place on the bench.
Before I get into the score petition itself, how do you see the game going? Do you think he'll be tough?
I mean,
we'll beat him easily, or
no? I think we'll beat them, but I don't think it'll be easy. I think it'll be a really, really frustrating afternoon in terms of Everton will be really good defensively. We will create chances. But it'll be one of those where we don't put it in the back of the net, or Everton the last minute clearance. And I think Everton on the counter attack will have like a couple of chances and maybe put one away. So I think it'll be a really frustrating afternoon. I think we'll get the job done, but I think it'll be like Sheffield United, really, really difficult. Maybe made it too difficult for ourselves, but I do think that we will come away with 3 points in the end.
See, my one is a 1-1. I think it's going to be a really difficult game. I remember TJ said this before. He earmarks this game as a draw as well. I think Everton will come with actually a lot of confidence. If you don't know, they've won, I think, 4 of their last 5 or something, or 5 of the last 6.
Yeah, they have. Well, they've won their last 4 Premier League games in a row.
Yeah.
In all competitions, because of their loss, it would have been 4 out of 6, which is still really solid for a club like Everton.
What I've noticed a lot about Everton this season compared to last is they just seem to be playing with a lot more confidence. Dyche has them playing as normal, organised, and I think because he has better players at Everton than he had at Burnley or whoever else he's managed before that, he seems to be like reveling in it. I don't know if you saw the Newcastle game at all, but he was like clapping his players when in the first 10, 20, half an hour, 15 minutes, whatever, because they're playing such great. Actually, we're playing really good football. Yeah. And then in the away games, they seem to have gone and got results, like Burnley, of course, Forest. So I don't think they'll be afraid to face us. So considering that they most likely will play a low block, what's the solution, do you think?
The solution is, move the ball quicker, keep creating, and ultimately, when your chances come around, or when an Everton mistake happens, whether Pickford takes too long on the ball, or we win it in the air, you just got to take our chances. So it's going to be really, really frustrating. I think we have to bide our time. It'll be one of those, where we like Palace. I think it's a prime example where we wait for that chance, but there is that risk, that element where you don't take your chances, we get frustrated, player like Romero, etc., does lose his head, or they go down the other end and score. I don't think it'll be a low block, but I think they'll be very, very dangerous in set pieces. On the break, Calvert-Lewin, McNeil really in form at the moment, Decore really, really dangerous. I think where we lose out is that midfield. I think that in times Everton will be able to put their foot on the ball and go now we are our turn to control the game. I think they have that. And I think Sean Dyche probably has a slightly better team at Everton, but Burnley still have players that are willing to work hard for him, and that's why ultimately he got them 7th one season, got them up, etc. And that's why he was there for 9 years. Crazy decision to sack him, by the way. I can't still get my head around that. But
and they got relegated as well, didn't they? I think
they got relegated, and rightly so. But that's new owners come in, and we've seen it with Forest. Can I just say it now? I think that's a wrong decision to stack Steve Cooper. They were in a similar position last season.
Have you seen some of the
bottom of the league? Bottom of the league championship to now in the Premier League, similar position last year. I still think he deserves a crack at keeping it up, and they brought in Nuno instead. For me, it's criminal.
And they're bringing Nuno. Forest.
Nuno is officially appointed this afternoon.
Really? Because I read it this morning. I was reading about how the owner wasn't happy with Steve Cooper apparently to do with like some weird, strange things. Bearing in mind the owner's Greek, he also
Steve
owns
Cooper was sacked
Olympiacos.
yesterday. Nuno was appointed this afternoon.
Nuno Espirito Santo.
Nuno Espirito Santo, yeah, former Tottenham Hotspur manager.
I don't know anything about that. Wow, that's actually mad.
There you go.
Yeah, they definitely get.
Already had his press conference as well.
I have to go watch it now after this
Yeah,
because I didn't even know this happened. Because I only read that he was possibly going to get sacked, and I thought after the game against Forest, after we beat them, I thought that's his last game, 100%.
I think Forest are going down.
I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything for a while, but now you tell me I have to go check it now because I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So apparently, some of the reasons
it was quite quiet. I had to look around.
Yeah,
it wasn't that obvious.
Because the Athletic did an article about it. I saw a bit of the headline saying the owner's very weird about colours and he's Greek, very weird about colours and all these strange things about colours of the cars or something he was driving and all these other.
But if the owner got his way and not in the Forest, C. Cooper would have been sacked last season. But
it's the fans that kept him.
The fans are behind him and maybe recognise that they can't go to that next level under Steve Cooper. And I get that, but where are they going to go under Nuno that Steve Cooper can't take them? I don't get that. It's bonkers.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't think Nuno's going to do much. So, Harry, when can we next find you? Are you going on a show straight away now, or is it?
No, I'm not on anything else tonight. I could be on an Everton show tomorrow. I could be on a potential Spurs podcast last minute tomorrow. But what I do know, locked in and confirmed, is Friday night.
Friday, right?
Friday night instead of Sunday night. We are doing a Christmas quiz at Park Lane Podcast.
So you can't make this Friday for the preview show. That's what you're saying, basically.
Yeah, sorry, I can't make the preview for this Friday, so I kind of feel good that
What time are you guys streaming? I'm asking.
7.
If I did it at 6, would it work at all?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, no, I'd love to come on. Absolutely.
Should we do it at 6 then? Because then we'll just do it for an hour.
Do it at 6.
And then you can go on.
There you go. So I'll be on Hazards at 6, Park Lane Podcast at 7, no show on Monday.
Southview Coys at 6, and then you're on Park Lane at 7. We'll just do that.
Park Lane Podcast.
That actually works better for me anyway, because it works better for me anyway.
There you go. And there's no show for me Monday, so obviously it is Christmas Day. And I just wanted to say my channel merch, Scarfy Spurs, was officially launched today. So thank you all for your interest so far. It's been sold by S66 Sports kitwear website. And so if you want to go check it out, affordable prices this Christmas. Also based off Spurs' third kit. In the past.
Is it your shirt? The shirt you mean? Or
I think I've got it on here. Can you see? Yeah. It's based off that with my own logo. And also you can get your name and number or whatever you like on it, maximum words for the same price that it would have been without. So I think that's quite good as well. And if you want to follow me, you can Harry Scarf 22, but check out my channel as well.
You guys subscribe to this channel, Scarfy Spurs Talk. And you haven't subscribed to me, subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, go subscribe to Hasspurs TV. And go check out Southview Coys, both on there every Friday.
Marlon's Southview Coys Friday night, 6 o'clock, and then he's going Park Lane afterwards for the Christmas quiz. I see it was a Spurs Christmas quiz, right?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. We're going to be wearing hats and jumpers. The hat I've got on now and a Spurs Christmas jumper.
Yeah, so you'll find us both again on Friday, basically. That's to summarize it, yeah.
As usual.
So come on, you Spurs.
Up the Spurs.